You're watching Pyro Media Network.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show. Hello everyone. Before we begin, we want to provide a brief trigger warning for our audience. This episode contains discussions and content that may be disturbing or triggering to some viewers and listeners. Topics may include specific triggers such as violence, abuse, mental health issues, etc. Your well-being is important to us. If you feel overwhelmed or need to step away at any point, please take care of yourself. Additionally, we encourage anyone who may need support to reach out to a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional. Remember, it's okay to prioritize your mental and emotional health. Thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate your understanding and support. Now, let's get started with today's show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Facebook Live show. It's just Kim. Yes, we are here. We are not live. This is pre-recorded. So just to let you know, in case when you see this, you're trying to make comments, there's a possibility that when we're airing that I will be in the comments so that we can have a chat. But today we are pre-recording this, okay? So I want to say that this particular subject matter is near and dear to my heart because it affects someone very special in my family. And today we're going to talk about endometriosis, right? And I really want to talk about my daughter's journey through that. Yes, dealing with the pain and, you know what, the perseverance through all of that. She has a great and interesting story to share with everyone. I think some of you who may know her would be very surprised to know all the things that she's been through. But before we get started or before I bring her on, I just wanted to read just a little bit about endometriosis. So endometriosis is an often painful condition in which tissue that is similar to the inner lining of the uterus grows outside the uterus. And it often affects the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, and the tissue lining the pelvis. Rarely does endometriosis grow beyond where the pelvic area is, but it does happen, and you'll hear about that. Endometriosis tissue acts like the lining that's inside the uterus. It gets thick, it breaks down, it bleeds with each menstrual cycle, but it grows in places where it doesn't belong, and it doesn't leave the body. When endometriosis involves the ovaries, cysts called endometriomes may form. Surrounding tissue can become irritated and form scar tissue. Bands of fiber tissue called adhesions may also form. They can cause pelvic tissue and organs to stick together like glue. Endometriosis can cause pain, especially during menstrual periods. Fertility problems also may develop, but treatments can help if you take charge of the condition in the very beginning. So without further ado, I want to bring my baby, my daughter, my amazing daughter to the show and let her just, open up and share a little bit about what she's been through, her journey through endometriosis. All right. Hello, Miss Khristian.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
I'm good. So everyone, this is my firstborn, my oldest child, Khristian Ervin-Ross. She is married to Dr. Patrick Ross, and she's my first baby. Okay? Yeah, that's her and her hubby. So I did a show earlier this year, and the show had several parts to it. And it was really all about what you learned or what 2025 taught you. And so I interviewed different people, like I interviewed a Black male therapist. I interviewed some other folks, but I also interviewed you and Patrick as a couple. And I was asking the question, what did 2025 teach you as a couple? And so we talked about that. And then some of what you all shared kind of led into the subject matter that we're going to be talking about today. That is your journey through endometriosis. And it was funny because at the end of our show, you started talking about one of the things that you wanted to do moving forward was share and educate people about your journey and what you've gone through, because many people they don't really know about endometriosis. I mean, it happens, but I don't think people really know what's happening when it is happening.
Right.
And so first, I just want you to just share a little bit about your journey, how it started, when you were diagnosed, and just a little bit about your initial symptoms.
Well, I was first diagnosed in November of 2021, just 2 weeks after my 35th birthday. And it was like a heavy load was dropped on me, but a heavy load was lifted off of me because I knew what was wrong now.
Yeah.
As you know, I was the young girl that started her cycle at 10 years old. And every month, you, Granny, or Dad had to come get me from school.
Yeah.
Because it was just too much. I couldn't bear. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't exist in school. I couldn't concentrate, nothing. And so every month you guys would have to come get me, take me home, and I would just lay there. And I just remember being young and not truly understanding what was going on with my body. I knew that I would get a period, but I did not know. And it didn't seem regular because everyone else that I knew didn't experience this. So it was like, well, why am I down for 3 days? Why am I down for 4 days? And You know, I watched you have a period. You know, my younger sister, I watched her have a period. And it always bothered me that every time I went to the doctor, it was like, oh, she's fine. Oh, it's normal. That is the most triggering word in, I think, medicine, is to tell someone that something is normal and it's not. Just say you don't know, but don't tell someone that it's normal. It's not normal for my parents to find me crawling to the bathroom. It's not normal for, you know, I'm trying to get up and down the stairs and it's taking me 10 minutes to get up and down the stairs. That's not normal. And so, so in 2021, at the age of 35, I went on a birthday trip, and literally the last day there, I woke up in a pain that I had never experienced before. And I experienced this pain, and I, you know, I put my superhero cape on and just powered through. So I walked all the way where we were to get picked up to go to the airport. I had to walk all the way to the front because we were all the way in the back near the beach. And I had to walk all the way to the front. I was bent over the whole time, couldn't even stand straight. And so got to the airport, never stood up straight. Never. Got home. Oh no, went through customs. Still, gosh. I was bent over and got home, bent over. I drove all the way home, was bent over. It was just, I never stood up straight until after my surgery.
Wow.
Literally. I remember that because my back was so sore because I was just bent over. And so finally, I had my now husband taking me to the hospital. So I got back from my trip, and maybe 3 days after I got back from my trip is when I went to the hospital, because I didn't understand. I didn't know if I ate something out there that just, you know, didn't sit well with me. I didn't know. And so when I got back home, I went to the hospital on, I think, a Sunday. Yes, it was a Sunday. And I did not leave until, I didn't leave until the day before Thanksgiving. So I spent 10 days in the hospital that first stint. And that was overwhelming because I had never spent a night in the hospital.
Wow.
And it was my first ever surgery. And it happened all so fast. It was like, are you able to urinate? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. They're like, no, you're not fine. Like, so what was happening is that I had a cyst the size of a grapefruit on my left side, and it wrapped around the ureter. It got so big, it didn't have anywhere to go. It didn't have any more room to grow. So it just began to wrap around my ureter, my left ureter. And when it did that, it shut off the ureter. It killed the tissue there. And so my urine in my left kidney, of course, began to back up. And so that was part of what was causing me so much pain. And then so they removed that, and then they put my ureter back together, and it still wasn't functioning correctly. Right. So 2-3 days later, they're like, we have to put in nephrostomy tubes. So what that is they put tubes into your kidney to drain it. That's how you're urinating. So I had two nephrostomy tubes in my left side. And it's crazy because I mean, if you heard the story before, I was just beginning to date my now husband. And that had to be the most like embarrassing. It was embarrassing because it was like, ew, you know, like I'm urinating into a bag. And he was ride or die about it. So, you know, kudos to him.
That's when we knew he was a keeper.
Right.
You know, they say when your mate or whomever that person is, your special person, can see you at your worst, at your absolute worst, and still love you and see through that. And you, like you said, you and Patrick had just started dating. So yeah, go ahead and finish.
Yeah, so we just started dating. But you know, we powered through that. That was so and on the funniest thing, the only reason why they released me on the day before Thanksgiving is because all of the family basically said, well, we're gonna come and set up Thanksgiving at the hospital. And those people were like, we got you, we're gonna get you out of here today. And so I was released and they sent me on my way. They were like, every time the nurse, the doctors came in, I think I had a whole new group of people sitting in there. And they were like, I've never seen someone with so much family. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so that was the beginning of me knowing about endometriosis.
Okay. And so it was funny because now I think back to that at first, the first thing that they told us was that you had kidney failure.
Yes.
They said she had kidney failure. We thought you went to the hospital because you were having a really bad period, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got there and it went from, okay, she went to the hospital because she was having a really bad period to now she's in kidney failure.
Right.
We're just like, what? Then the doctor said, I guess because of when they took pictures of what was going on inside you, they really couldn't make heads or tails of it at first. Right. So then they said that you had some type of congenital situation where they were saying your kidney had 2 ureters.
Yes.
Which wasn't true. Right. They didn't really know that the endometriosis had wrapped itself around the kidney, which was causing.
So it looked like 2 ureters were over there. Yes, but the cyst had wrapped around it, so it broke it and basically broke it in half. And so it was. Wow. Yeah, I went through about 3 or 4 diagnoses until they realized what it was. And then, but it was like I had 3 or 4 diagnoses in a day. It wasn't like 3 or 4 diagnoses in 2 weeks. It was like 3 or 4 diagnoses in a day. It was like every time they came in, they had a new report for me. And I was like, okay, that's not like, okay, how was all this possible?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And then, you know, I think after that, what happened after that? You went from that hospital to
so what happened was, so they put the stent in my ureter to keep it open. Because they thought that is what would help it keep it open, and that didn't work. And so so what happened was the hospital that I was at, they basically told me my insurance wasn't accepted there. So I had to go to Cedars, which is fine. I mean, I wanted to be at Cedars anyway. And so I went to Cedars and met with my doctor there, and he was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. My kidney doctor, I'm trying to remember his name, but I cannot remember. His name is Dr. Adut. He was amazing. He's probably like a couple of years older than me. I mean, so he's new, he's up to date with things. Right. And he was absolutely amazing. He kept in contact with you all while I was in surgery. He was very, very careful with what he did. He was very mindful. He wanted to make sure, because I was as young as I was, that, you know, I didn't have too much scarring. So he wasn't trying to like slice me open. Yeah. He was very, very kind. And so that was my journey then. So he went in to remove the stent because the stent started moving up into the kidney. Yes. So it was placed in the ureter and then it moved up into the kidney. When that happened, I was in so much pain because it wasn't supposed to move. So now I have a foreign object in my kidney.
Your kidney.
And so now he's trying to get it out
delicately,
without damaging the kidney. And so he literally during the surgery calls Patrick. He's like, there's not a stent in here. He's like, no. He's like, I know they put a stent in. They told me they put a stent in there. And so he moved the camera up a little bit more, and sure enough, it was in the kidney. Mm-hmm. And so he got it out very, very slowly. I think that surgery was supposed to be like 2 or 3 hours. That one ended up being about 6 because they couldn't find it. So that happened. So at this point, I think I'm 3-4 procedures in and dealing with endometriosis, something I had never heard of before. And so I was released from the hospital from that. And then so the thing is, so when he removed that, he actually had to put another one in. He had to put another stent in. And because literally my ureter was collapsing. Mm-hmm. So he did that. So what he did was he removed that stent, and then he cut the dead tissue and put it back together. But when he put it back together, he had to put a stent in there so that it can stay open. And so when he did that, I was good for a little while. He had planned to remove it, but it just wasn't time to remove it yet, and that got infected. So I was rushed. I was staying with you all, so I was rushed to Loma Linda out in Marietta, and then they drove me. Through ambulance, took me down to Cedars, and then that's when he had to remove that stent. So right now, my left kidney functions at about 25%. So basically, my right kidney does all the work.
And the 25% is an improvement. Yes,
that's an improvement because it was at about 10. It was about at 10%. So so now it's about 25%. You know, it's been a journey. And I tried to stay ahead of things. It's not good for me it was not good for anyone to get a UTI, but it's really not good for me to get a UTI. It can cause a lot of damage for me. It could probably even put me on dialysis. So I try to stay ahead of that. And so so that was that part. I don't know if you want me to talk about this last stint of
well, you can kind of fast forward because let's say altogether you had how many procedures?
Oh, including this last go round last year, I would say I had 6. I've had about 6 procedures.
Yeah, and I think the last,
so from 2021 to 2025.
Yeah.
Yes. So from 2021, November 2021 to June of 2025, which is when they reversed my ileostomy, that has been the last procedure. So I don't know if you want me to go into that part.
So you can talk just a bit about that last surgery. That was a planned surgery, but then there was an unplanned surgery after the planned surgery.
Right. Yes. So they planned for me to have surgery March of 2025. I went in that morning, had surgery. They removed I had already had my left fallopian tube removed. So they removed the right one. My fallopian tubes were pretty much the largest organs in my body at that time, which they're not supposed to be. Anyone that knows, they were literally like 4 times the size they were supposed to be. They were so inflamed. So they removed both of them. I had a part of my colon removed because the endometriosis had wrapped around my colon. Right. I had my appendix removed because it wrapped around my appendix. And what else? That's all that was removed. But then they had to go in and remove the endometriosis that was basically when you said it's glues your organs together, that's basically what my organs look like in my abdomen. They were glued together. You couldn't tell. Well, you could tell what they were, but there was no space in between.
Yeah.
So everything was just glued together, and they had to go through and remove that. So that was a 10-hour surgery.
Yes.
It went from an 8-hour surgery to a 10-hour surgery. And I know you, Patrick, my dad, everybody was out there freaking out.
Yeah.
And so my doctor reattached my his name is Dr. Nasseri. He's also amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He reattached my colon, but unfortunately when he reattached it, I had a opening and it started to leak. And so I had to be rushed back into surgery to get an ileostomy. And an ileostomy is when they take a piece of your colon and basically you defecate into a bag. And so that's what I did for about 3 months. So I was in the hospital for that time for 14 days. So I did 2 weeks that time, 10 days the first, 14 this last time. And then they reversed it in June of 2025. Yeah. And I was only there about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And needless to say, I mean, just in what you've been describing, and I wanted to take the time for us to just kind of go through. I mean, we kind of like fast forwarded through quite a bit of the journey. We could take the whole hour just to talk about it, but I mean, needless to say that endometriosis has definitely impacted your life.
Absolutely.
Mean, that period of time, you couldn't work, you needed help with, just daily hygiene, situations, you needed people to help you. You couldn't do anything for yourself, basically, for a period of time. And I think it's just important for us to share the importance of knowing what endometriosis is and how it can really affect your body. I think you had a team. Now, I did want to say this, that last surgery that you had a team of surgeons because you needed the kidney surgeon to be there to protect your kidneys. You needed you had 4 people there.
I had my colon doctor.
And
then I had my gynecologist. He was there.
Right.
Yes.
And then you had another surgeon who worked on the endometriosis.
Yes.
And so I remember the specialists, because you had a great team of specialists. Mm-hmm. And I remember them saying, this is the worst case of endometriosis that we have ever seen.
Yes.
And I feel like we have to say it loud and put it out there, because there are so many women who are being impacted by endometriosis and they don't even know it.
No.
They, like you, think they were just having really hard periods.
Yes.
And a period, does cause some discomfort.
Right.
But it should never be as painful as it was for you.
Right.
And so what type of how do you cope with how things are now? I mean, because like you said, there, fallopian tubes were removed. And so even the challenge of getting pregnant, it just ups the ante. It just makes everything more difficult. So just talk about
that. Well, coping. So one thing about it is that I'm reminded every day, because I have the scars on my stomach. So if I'm taking off my clothes, I'm going to see those scars every day. There's not a day that goes by I don't see them. And so, I have the most amazing support system Because it seems like on the days that, and I don't say anything, on those days that I don't feel great, those are the days everyone is like, oh my God, you look so beautiful today. Oh, you look great today. And I'm like, I feel horrible today. But, you know, that's the way God works. You know, he sends you what you need when you need it. And so I just, with coping with it, I know that my journey to having children is going to be a lot tougher than most. I definitely, I have to go through IVF. That's not even a question. Unless, you know, the Lord puts, you know, the second coming inside of me.
You know what? I want to chat a little bit about IVF, but before we do that, I want to go to a commercial, and we'll talk
Okay.
about that when we come back.
All right.
The news is divided. Ground News puts it back together, with coverage from thousands of outlets around the world in one place. So you can spot sensational reporting, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Beside every headline, you'll see who owns the source, how reliable it is, and if they have a political bias. Multiple perspectives side by side, giving you a well-rounded view of today's biggest stories. Visit ground.news to learn more.
Hey, how y'all doing? Real quick, this is Daryl Walter, host of the Daryl Walter Show. I know. And you are watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey, it's Dr. Nicole D. Vick from Dr. Victorious, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Okay, so we are back. I'm here with my daughter, Khristian, and we've been talking about her journey through endometriosis. But when we said we were going to just chat a bit about IVF and what that's going to look like for her. But before we do that, I just wanted to share a few statistics as it relates to women and endometriosis. So dealing with the prevalence of endometriosis, research indicates that Black women may experience endometriosis at a similar or higher rate compared to their white counterparts, but specific data varies. Some studies suggest that around 10 to 15% of women of reproductive age have endometriosis. That's alarming. 10 to 15% of women of childbearing age. And then also there's issues with delayed diagnosis. And I think that's what we dealt with your situation.
Yeah.
It says Black women often experience longer delays in diagnosis, averaging 7 to 10 years from the onset of symptoms to diagnosis. This is often attributed to a combination of systemic biases and healthcare disparities. And then also dealing with the severity of symptoms, studies have shown that Black women may report more severe symptoms and complications associated with endometriosis, including chronic pain and infertility. This is alarming, just to know that we it takes 7 to 10 years for Black women to be diagnosed.
Yeah.
That means that's 7 to 10 years, and probably more for most, 7 to 10 years that women are suffering with
Right.
periods that are almost unbearable. And I do
Yes.
remember
Yes.
the day that you actually went to the hospital. I was downstairs and I was doing something in the kitchen, and I kept hearing like a voice. And
Yeah.
I got real still. And I was like, that sounds like somebody's moaning. And I ran upstairs, and you were literally on the bathroom floor. You were trying to get into the bathroom, and that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point on, it was like, okay, that's when the whole hospitalization began,
Right.
and all the other things took place. But it's just really important for us to share this information with of course, with Black women, but all women. And it's funny
All
because
women.
I work with a lot of Gen Zers and millennials. And I'm always paying attention to the young women at my site, because whenever they're having a hard time with their periods, I'm always telling them, hey, look, go get that checked out. You should not be suffering. You should not be debilitated when you're on your period. Uncomfortable, in discomfort, but you should be able to take pain medication and be able to function. And when you're not able to do that, then there is a huge problem. And you have to continue to talk to the doctors and make sure that they do all the tests that are available for you as a woman to get tested with, so that you'll know what's going on inside your body. Yes. And if that doctor is not, if that doctor is not willing to do what's necessary,
go to another one.
Go to another one. Go to another one. I remember a doctor saying to you, a Black female gynecologist at that, they're at Cedars, saying, I just want to apologize to you on behalf of the doctors in my field. Because she knew, like most of us Black women know, that they do not listen to us.
No.
They do not listen. We say we're in pain. No. We say something's wrong. Even in pregnancy, we say something's wrong. Something's not quite right. You know, I remember that with your brother. And the doctor did not listen. And sure enough, I had some complications with him. So, it's just really good for us to talk about these things. And I so appreciate you and admire you for sharing this with people. People would never know. They would know unless you put on a bikini, right? And they can see the different scars. They can ask the question. But it's good for us to share this information in our community.
Absolutely, 100%. We have to, because I'm telling you, when someone at work, I talk about this all the time at work. When I say I talk about this, I talk to the guys. I tell them about their girlfriends, their wives. I'm like, tell her to go to the doctor. I recently had a coworker. Me and him were working together with a patient, and he was just like, he was so kind. He was like, can I just ask you some questions? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we were dealing with a patient that had a ileostomy. And so I was like, oh yeah, I've had one. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I said, when I was out for like almost 6 months, I said, this is what's going on with me. He was like, wait, what? Why? He's like, he was just devastated on my behalf. And so when I started telling him about my endometriosis, he was like, a lot of your symptoms sounds like my girlfriend's symptoms.
Wow.
And I said, please tell her to go. I mean, tell her to fight. I said, if one doctor doesn't give her what she needs, go to another one. I said, until she gets what she needs. Whether they
Yeah.
tell you it's endometriosis, PCOS, whatever it is that they tell you, just please, please, please fight for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to fight for yourself. And because I work in healthcare, I will say this. I'm gonna say most are not trying to dismiss you. They really are not. But what it is that a lot of times CT is behind, MRIs are behind. It's a lot of work to get you what you need per se. I'm gonna say that. And so because things are so behind, like so many appointments, all types of things, the only reason why I was able to see the specialist that I was able to see is because literally when I went into CT and I came out, they were like, everybody was speechless, everybody was dumbfounded, no one knew. I had about 3 or 4 doctors, not nurses, doctors, walk up to me and say, I am so sorry. You should not have experienced this. Yeah. How did you function? How did you work? Like, how did you live a life like this? Because the thing about endometriosis is that it doesn't just affect you during your cycle. It actually can affect you during other times of the month. Wow. So I would just get like stabbing pains all of a sudden. Or like I would get shooting pains down my side, like down my sciatica. And that's because the endometriosis is just going crazy. It's doing what it wants to do. I remember many of times, like, I mean, I ain't know, size 2, but many of times I would just blow up and I didn't understand why I was blowing up. And it's because my body was inflamed. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that my body was inflamed. I just thought like, okay, just maybe that time of the month is coming. And so I really want women to know that, number one, you're not alone. This is something that, many women have gone through. And talk to somebody. Please talk to somebody. Just open up your mouth and believe me, with the way the world works now, no one's going to shame you. No one's going to say, we need to talk to young girls about their periods. That does not need to be shamed. It doesn't need to be a quiet conversation. Talk to them. Hey, I mean, if a young girl comes over here and she's like, oh, I'm having bad cramps, I'm looking at her mama like, take her to the hospital or take her to the doctor. They know I don't play because of what I've experienced. I don't want any young, especially young Black girl, to experience what I've experienced. This has been an eye-opener for myself, for my family, for my friends, everyone. No one in a million years thought that I would experience this. No one, and I just said to myself, I said, okay, God, if this is, the way you want me to, help others, then that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I'll help others. I'll help other young girls, that don't know. They really just don't know. And a lot of mothers don't know. So,
because I didn't know. And I'll be honest with you, there was a period of time that as a mom, I carried guilt. Once I learned of how severe all of this was, and I was thinking, oh my God, should I have spoken up? Should I have, pushed? Was there something else I should have done as a mom for my daughter? And, I carried that guilt for a while, especially when I would see you going through all of these surgeries and procedures. And then when you would come out, from under the anesthesia, you would be in so much pain. And without trying to make it about yourself as a mom, it was just really devastating to watch your child because you feel such a sense of helplessness. You think that you should be able to help your kids through anything and comfort them through anything. But, just speaking to the moms, do something about your daughters with severe pain during periods. You have a young daughter who has severe pain. I mean, there were times I remember saying to you, I have some Motrin 800s, and you're like, that doesn't help. That's a sign. That's truly a sign when Motrin 800s don't help a person with their pain. I remember you telling me, Mom, that just barely knocks the edge off.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
Because that's a very strong pain medication.
Yeah.
You don't just typically get Motrin 800s, from the doctor. You have to be in some kind of pain for that, for them to prescribe that just on a normal basis. But if you could give one piece of advice to someone who is newly diagnosed with endometriosis, what would you say to them?
I would say, what would I say? I would say that you, due to the surgeries, because I know for a lot of women we deal with body image issues. You're still beautiful. This is not the end for, if you do want kids or if you don't want kids, whatever that is for you, don't let no one make that decision for you. That, your pain was real. Your pain was real. It wasn't a figment of your imagination. I remember feeling like that sometimes. Like, am I making this up? Am I making this worse than what? I remember feeling like that because so many doctors told me it's normal. It's normal. I'm like, no, this isn't normal. I remember I used to carry extra work pants because I would bleed through my work pants. And, it was embarrassing, and it wasn't embarrassing because people knew I was on my period, but it was embarrassing because this is something I have no control over. I don't know when that big bush is going to happen. I don't know when anything is going to occur. I don't know when I'm going to be helping with a patient and then I'm going to be doubled over after, you know what I mean? I just didn't know. And so the fact that now I'm aware, and I love the fact that because I've made my coworkers aware, they're so thoughtful now. They're like, Khristian, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? Or when I tell them my story, they're like, you're okay? Like, you're here? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm fine now. I'm okay now. They're like, oh my God, we didn't know. And because, at work, they can't talk about what you're going through. But I'm just like, I want to scream from the rooftops. Like, look, this is what is going on, you guys. This is what can happen. They're like, you had nephrostomy too? When I tell them like, oh yeah, I've had that before. They're like, what?
The nephrostomy tubes, you had the ileostomy bag, just multiple surgeries, just a number of things. But as we come to the end of our interview, tell me just a little bit about what or how you envision the future. What do you see in your future?
I see kids. I would love to have children one day. I know that my process will be different from most. I would love to have children one day. I do see that in my future. I see me really helping others. I really want to be a voice for girls, for women, period, with endometriosis, to let them know that you are not making this up. Don't let anyone tell you that you're making this up. And I just want to be the cheerleader for other women to say like, no, we're going to fight this. We're going to, we're going to do the right things to get better. You know, whatever that looks like for you, if that is a total hysterectomy, then that's what that is, you know, and then we'll find a different pathway for you to have children, or, you know, whatever that is I just want to be a voice for other women to know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's amazing. And I am so incredibly proud of you for just being so transparent about your journey. And there's so much that goes with it, you know, that we just don't have the time to tell it. But I am so encouraged by the fact that you're encouraged, you know, you're not giving up, you know your pathway and your journey towards becoming a mom will be different from most, but it'll be part of that journey. It'll be part of that testimony. You know, it'll be part of you know, how God blesses you to become, you know, to fulfill that desire that you have for children. You know, maybe, you know, you just got to go ahead and have the twins or the triplets and get it over with, right?
Oh, God.
But I'm only taking one. I can only handle one at a time.
Now, how you gonna say that and then say you're gonna take one at a time? Now, that's crazy.
Just switch them out. We'll switch them out.
Okay, that's crazy.
But I want to say, Khristian, thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely.
Or joining me today on It's Just Kim. Thank you for being open, honest, and transparent about your journey, sharing and encouraging women to seek help, to seek medical attention. And I'm looking forward to you becoming like an advocate, you know, really getting out there in the streets, boots on the ground, you know, teaching and sharing more information about what endometriosis is and how it affects women, how it affects Black women, you know, how sometimes we don't have access to the same type of health care other people have, how we are diagnosed 7 to 10 years later than most, and how women of childbearing years, at least 10 to 15% of them have endometriosis and they don't even know it.
Right.
So those are all very alarming facts that we've learned here tonight and we can share with others. So if that's you, if you feel like there's something going on in your body, and it doesn't even have to be about endometriosis, it could be anything going on with your body, seek medical attention, talk to your doctor, and keep talking to your doctor. Don't allow the doctors to get you in there for 10 minutes and then, you know, they're dipping out. No, hey, I have questions. Wait, here's my list. I have a list of questions for you. And I thank God I have a great doctor like that. She spends time in the exam room with me, and she asks me questions, asks me if I have questions, and just wants to know what's happening with me, not just physically, but even emotionally, mentally. So, but thank you, you know, thank you, baby. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you. And I know God has great
you too, Mom.
I know He has great things for your future. And I don't know. I just can't wait. I can't wait. So again, thank you for joining me tonight on It's Just Kim. Thank you for taking the time out to listen. As we said earlier, this is pre-recorded. And so on the night of the show airing, we will definitely be on to be in the comments so that we can chat about what we've discussed today, Khristian's journey through endometriosis. You all take care. You stay safe. And thank you again for joining. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.